Sipho. So many people visiting the King's home. How much COVID protocol is being observed? Is there any real fear of a potential super spreader event?
There are those fears from government authorities as well as the royal family members. Earlier on, I spoke to one of the King's sons, Prince Nhlanganiso, as well as Prince Thulani, who speaks for the Zulu royal family. They told me that they are concerned about the number of people who are coming to KwaNongoma. Hence, they are discouraging mourners from trickling in to KwaKhetho Mthandayo Royal Palace, but also acting minister in the presidency raised that issue to say for now they are happy with COVID-19 protocols that are being adhered to, but they are worried about the number of people that are coming in and out. Earlier on, we had a press briefing by the traditional prime minister of the Zulu nation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who was basically confirming all the logistics for the burial of the king, saying that the king's remains will be interred midnight on Wednesday and early hours of Thursday. So royal family members have also told us that the king will be planted on a Thursday. So that is any time between midnight Wednesday to early hours of Thursday between 2 and 3 a.m. Everything should be done. That will be a private ceremony. Only senior members of the royal house as well as Amabuto, as per the king's wishes, will conduct that one. But different stakeholders have been flocking into KwaKhetho Mthandayo Royal Palace. They include farmers associations. As right now we are joined by SIYABONGA MADLALA, who is the chairperson of South African Farmers Development Association. SIYABONGA ngesikhathi sakho. The departed monarch worked very well with farmers. He was a farmer, but the issue of land, farming, agriculture and food security troubled him a lot. He wanted people to be self-sufficient. How are you going to remember him?
Indeed, as we are here today, we are here to pay our last respect to the monarch and to our king, the icon of agriculture itself. We know that he himself was our champion in agriculture. What we're going to do to honor him is continue the legacy of farming. We will continue encouraging our farmers to farm the land. And we know that by farming the land, we'll be able to protect our land. Because that's what he used to say, that farm that land, because no one will take it away if you are farming it. We are terrified and worried about the Ngonyama Trust, because we know that he was the stronghold. He was the one who was keeping it together. We don't know how it's going to turn out now, because even our farmers, as we speak, are most of them in communal land.
Thank you very much for your time. Those are some of the stakeholders here. I'm going to try and get more of the stakeholders here from the education sector. Let me tell you that right now we are joined by Ubabu Malinga, who is the acting president of NATU, the Teachers Union. One of the king's priorities was the issue of education. He spoke strongly in favor of education. As a sector, how are you going to remember the departed king?
Thank you so much. One would love to say we will remember the king of his passion in education. You know, the king loved education, and he used actually to tell us that we need to teach learners as never before. So we, as the Central Executive Board of the National Teachers Union, we took this day to come and pay the last tribute to the king. We also brought in a beast. Why we did that? Because the king has been our patron. Actually, we gave him that title in one of our conferences that was held here in KwaNongoma. We also want to tell the nation that we'll keep on raising the flag of education in remembrance of our own king. We also want to remind the government that the king, at one point in time, he said that we should make sure that we remove all book stores that are next to the schools, because they actually disturb the teaching and learning. Therefore, we say everybody in education must make sure that the legacy of the king is held.
Thank you very much for your time. That is Mr. Malinga, is the president of NATU, one of the teacher unions that has come here to KwaKhetho Mthandayo Royal Palace to pay their respects. Earlier on, the Deputy President, David Mabuza, was also here together with the Minister for Agriculture, Togo Didiza, and other leaders of political parties. We expect that tomorrow the king's remains will be brought to KwaKhetho Mthandayo Royal Palace.
And Sipa, it's going to be, it's been a hive of activity since the news of the King's passing, and today was a very busy day. What do you expect to happen tomorrow? I know that there's a fair amount of secret ritual around how the King is going to be laid to rest or planted, but what do you know so far?
Okay, this is what we know. Tomorrow afternoon, you will have members of the royal family going to one of the local mortuaries where the remains of the king are kept. They will be accompanied by regiments Amabuto, who will fetch the body of the king, the remains of the king, bring them here to Waketo Mtanda, your royal palace. After that, there will be a cut-off point for both the media and mourners who will be coming here to pay their respects. We expect that in the afternoon and then in the evening, Zulu royal family members will then perform customs and traditions as well as rituals that they need to perform before the remains of the departed monarch are interred in the early hours of Thursday, from midnight on Wednesday to Thursday. So tomorrow it will solely be dedicated to Amabuto, who will go and fetch the monarch, bring him here. After that, royal family members will take over and perform all the family traditions and rituals that need to be performed. Remember, here you will be planting the departed monarch. So there is a lot of secrecy around how that will unfold. But what we know so far, based on what Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who is the traditional prime minister of the Zulu nation, has publicly confirmed, is that the king will be planted by Amabuto and some senior members of the royal family. No women will be allowed, according to Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. That is in line with the king's wishes. Even his wives will not get an opportunity to go to the burial site. Even some of his children will not get an opportunity to go there. So it has always been a tradition when it comes to laying to rest the departed monarchs across Africa, not only in the Zulu kingdom. It's always shrouded in secrecy. So we expect that will be the case even with the departed AmaZulu monarch.
Well, it's going to be a really important day tomorrow. Thank you very much for giving us an outline of what we can expect. Senior reporter Sipa Mandla, who is, of course, in KwaNongoma, and we will cover as much of that process that happens in the build-up to the king being planted. We will carry as much of that as we are respectfully allowed to, bearing in mind a lot of it is very much a private affair for the family.